ウルクの民のためにね。
I know it's the summer season, but I refuse to talk about anything but Fate Strange Fake right now. There have been many Fate anime before this one, and there will be many after. But rather than just being another entry in the esteemed franchise started by famed visual novel writer Kinoko Nasu, this is based on a spin-off novel written by Ryogo Narita, and, at least in my mind, continues the legacy of Baccano and Durarara in that it's a big ensemble story with no singular protagonist. I've already made a video about how those are two of my favourite anime, and at the end, I said this. And so, just putting it out there, how about a Fate Strange Fake anime by Takahiro Omori at Studio Shuka with the whole Baccano Durarara team? A new urban environment, a cast of eccentric characters, stories that intertwine and interconnect in exciting ways. It just fits. There probably will be an anime adaptation when the novels are finished, but when they do make it, I hope they remember that the perfect team is already there. But a month ago, a special was released to prove me wrong. Not just that we wouldn't have to wait for the novels to finish, but also that wasn't the right team for Fate. They were perfect for the gangster underworlds of New York City and Ikebukuro, but within the city of Snowfield, these spell-slinging mages need a pair of directors who can achieve spectacle. The full Strange Fake anime is likely a while off yet. What we have now is an adaptation of the first volume crammed into 55 minutes of rushed rules explanations, Flat being a lovable dumbass, and Mesopotamian reunions to Sawano rap music.
Right down on the edge of my shield, I got to get my trophy on the battlefield. I told you already.
It's bombastic, wall-to-wall action and drama with little space to breathe. It's not what I want from the TV show, but as something to tide us over until the main meal, it makes for excellent poppadoms. And its twin directors, Shun Enikido and Takehito Sakazume, are experts at squeezing a lot of animation into a short runtime. But more on that in a minute. The title of this video talks about a strange production, and beyond it just sounding clicky, these animators taking the helm of director together is what makes it strange. There are plenty of shows where two people will be credited in a directorial role, but they'll always have very distinct separate duties. In seasons 2 and 3 of Attack on Titan, Tetsuo Araki focused on storytelling, while Masashi Koizuka focused on the animation. On My Hero Academia, due to having the extra workload of the films, Kenji Nagasaki takes a supervisory role on the TV show, while Masahiro Mukai is more hands-on. But Enikido and Sakazume work together in every role. For a stressful environment like anime creation, it sounds like a recipe for disaster, but it's clearly not impossible. There are plenty such examples in live action and even in animation. The two have worked out a level of delegation. For instance, Enikido was in charge of all the Enkidu scenes, and Sakazume took charge of the Gilgamesh scenes. But those lines quickly blurred when, for instance, the two servants fight, or even one director just happens to have a good idea for the other's scene. This isn't a duo that could have been appointed. These sorts of symbiotic collaborations don't come about from producers picking out teams like their high school group assignments. Enikido and Sakazume have known each other for a long time, and it all got started when they were sat next to each other at Tatsunoko, where they were both working together on Yozakura Quartet in 2013. I've mentioned that show many times in the past. It was the focal point for many of today's most promising animators turned directors, including Black Clover's Tatsuya Yoshihara, Chainsaw Man's Ryu Nakayama, Burn the Witch's Tatsuro Kawano, and the famed opening and Pokemon Twilight Wings director Shingo Yamashita. In fact, geeking out about Shingo Yamashita's work was what binded the two young animators together at the time, and they became so close that since then, they've worked on almost everything together. When Aniplex producer Sachiel Fujita approached them about working on the commercials for the Fate Grand Order mobile game, it was a no-brainer that they'd be working together, eventually settling into a rotation where one would direct and the other would animate. Together they changed the FGO marketing from just being about spotlighting the characters you could get in the gacha to showcasing the epic clashes between these warriors of legend. These are 15-second ads, 3 of those seconds being the title, and yet the Enokido and Sakazuma team up, now calling themselves Mayu Takage as a mashup of their online usernames, were able to create animation that's both exhilarating and readable at the same time. In this one here, there are 6 different battles, and they're just as fun to go back frame by frame through as they would be to watch on TV. The ads were received well, and it transitioned into more and more opportunities for the two under the Fate umbrella, whether that was creating longer 30-second versions, working as action animation directors for the Fate Apocrypha TV show, or even creating the mobile game's blockbuster-esque anniversary video. Yet there's a reason I never even considered they would end up directing Fate Strange Fake, and that's because beyond directing these trailers, neither really had all that much individual experience in the director's chair. An episode of Flip Flappers on Enikido's side, and a Fate Apocrypha episode on Sakazume's. But that's exactly why the two of them decided to take the director's chair and turn it into a director's sofa. Individually, they admitted it might be beyond them, but together, they could handle one of the most heavily requested adaptations by fans. As new directors, they left their egos at the door and accepted any and all advice they could get. This wasn't the first time Strange Fake would be adapted from a literary medium to a visual one, so the two sought the advice of manga artist and illustrator Shizuki Mori to help put this story on screen. Ryoga Narita is one of the greatest writers in light novels, but his large cast and living worlds have made his work infamously difficult to adapt. Since all we've seen thus far is a special, this is the part I still worry about. Strange Fake doesn't have the writing talent Baccano and Durarara had. Takahiro Amori and Noboru Takagi worked together to take Narita's disconnected chapters and reconnect them in radical ways with cinematic language. The end results are iconic, 2 of my favourite anime series of all time, and proved that Narita has a place on TV.
ルール面々とした話になるが、稀有壮大な心で聞いてほしい。
I am remaining open-minded, and even though I hold a great amount of respect for the creators of Baccano, they wouldn't have been able to achieve this. An assembly of talented young digital artists who've spent the last decade watching the Mayu Takage team show them what a supernatural battle could look like. And hey, I should point out, the production of this special was concurrent with the creation of Chainsaw Man, led by their friends Ryu Nakayama and Tatsuya Yoshihara. So if, God's willing, the Strange Fake anime doesn't overlap with Chainsaw Man's second season, that's a whole pool of talent that probably had to say, nah man, sorry, we're behind on Chainsaw and I won't have time to help you out for the special. Because all the other pieces are in place already. They have Yusuke Takeda, the industry's most reliable background director. They have Yohei Miyawaki, a compositing director with such a talent for VFX and nighttime scenes that he's able to make us forget that this could have potentially been a Ufotable anime. And I've got to reiterate the ever-ambitious Hiroyuki Sawano making his debut in the Fate franchise. He is anime's most celebrated composer for a reason. I really hope I'm not going to be coming back to this video in a couple years to laugh at my optimism. It is possible though. Aniplex has been assembling many great teams just like this one, only for the company to fail them by giving them inflexible schedules and not offering adequate support. Hell, this special was meant to release on New Year's Eve, but ended up being delayed a half year due to production issues. And sure, it's good that they were able to delay it instead of having to deliver a disappointing result, but is the Sony subsidiary going to be as nice when they've already booked a time slot? Thanks for watching the Canipa Effect, and hey, if you're a fellow Naruto anime fan, go back and watch my video on Baccano and Durarara. I put a ton of work into that one, but obviously, since it's about anime from over a decade ago, it didn't get many clicks. Although, thankfully, this channel doesn't actually need clicks, and that's purely thanks to all these incredible supporters on Patreon. In particular, I'd like to thank Alan Baquero, Andrea Bellina, Austin Hardwick, Biopower, Chris Boylan, Clazy, Deadmeat, Eddie Laheka, Frizzy Canadian, Frogkun, who by the way hasn't been a Patreon since like 2017, but we're married now and it would be weird to take her off this, Jacob Bosley, Jawburst, JR Pictures, Lasagna Soda, Mike Tamborelli, my own mother who subscribed to this because she thought it would be funny but never unsubscribed, Ryland Taylor, Toma Rahman, and Tiago Nascimento. If you'd like to help keep this channel alive along with these brilliant people, then go to patreon.com/theCaniperEffect.